Let's talk with Allan Rosenfield about his piece, Turquoise Grotto. So, Allan, what are we looking at?
What we're looking at is a painting that is painted on both sides of the canvas. I have designed it and installed it so that it can be fully reversible. The configuration that you see it in right now is only one of an almost unlimited number of arrangements you can make with it. I may not even know the best arrangement may be something that someone else discovers, not me. It can also be viewed very, very passively, but I really like it when somebody else, hands reasonably clean, of course, takes it and says, I wonder what it would look like this way. I wonder what it would look like, inside out from the way it is, totally reversed or symmetrical or asymmetrical. And I like that interactivity and that total engagement with the entire surface of the painting.
Allan, can you talk about the inspiration of the piece?
Yes. It arose out of a couple of things. One was my lifelong fascination with dualities and opposites in both life and art, and how they can be reconciled, and if not fully reconciled, at least be made to kind of live alongside each other. And some of the opposites we see going on in this piece are the relatively controlled and painstaking nature of the way this side was done, the side that is currently the inside, with the lines, the broken grid rhythms, the areas which are, if not hard edge, at least fairly clearly delineated.
They almost look like different pieces of fabric together. They do have such that hard edge.
And you get a layered look that way, with the other side, which is it's somewhat calculated, but part of it also has to be left up to the forces of gravity and osmosis and absorption and whatever it will do, the thing as having a mind of its own and a secret of its own.
So one thing when you were selected as a new member here at Associated Artists, and it came to putting your work in the show, you wanted to install it.
Yes.
So usually we get up and we hang all the artworks, but Allan, you came in and installed it. And I was wondering if you could speak to that installation a little bit and the idea of it.
Well, the ceiling installation is kind of important for me. I do have a couple of stands for these, which I sometimes use for variety or when it's just not possible to do the ceiling. But what I like about the ceiling installation is that it makes it appear as though the piece is hovering, as though it is a kind of a vision or a mirage or a kind of a ghost. And what that does is belie the physical presence of the piece, the materiality of the piece, and perhaps emphasize, I hope, something spiritual and ephemeral and maybe contemplative that can be seen about the piece.
Definitely. For me,
the no visible means of support.
For me, it kind of plays on this narrative of thinking of clothing on a clothesline, right? And that thinking of what's not there, the human body. So I automatically think of how I relate to the piece. Like, where would my shoulders go and everything. So, but I really like that idea of the ethereal nature.
I like that reading because it is, well, it is a metaphorical garment. It's obviously not a literal.
Yeah, I can't wear this.
You can't, really wear this. It would be stiff. It would be, to make it really wearable, I'd have to make it out of, parachute cloth or silk or something like that, which are all things to consider. But I like using the canvas because that's another paradox, which I'm also very fond of, which is, for it being forced to answer the question, well, what is a canvas? What is a suitable surface for painting? And why not blur the line between canvas painting and textile, which this kind of installation also does.
Most definitely. So, Allan, how did you end up in Pittsburgh?
Well, I'm from everywhere and nowhere. I started in the eastern part of the state, where I got my BFA from Tyler School of Art of Temple University. Then I earned my MFA at School of the Art Institute of Chicago. From there, I went to live in Japan on a Fulbright, back in Philly for several years. And I went to live in LA for 3 years from Philly, from LA to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Along the way, I also spent a year in Rome as part of Tyler's Temple Abroad, and I actually spent 26 years living in the Southwest in New Mexico, and there I met my husband, and I participated in a number of shows. I ran a gallery out of our home for several years, and finally, we wanted to come home, and this kind of answers another question. But to us, this part of the country is home. It's where my husband's family is from. He is a West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania guy, and there is enough of the familiar here for me to feel like I'm coming home, but enough that is different for it to be really stimulating and really quite unique from what I've known before in the other part of the state.
So, Allan, why did you apply to become a member of AAP?
Well, I applied to not feel so isolated as artists will do, and also to have at least an occasional opportunity to speak for my own work, as I'm doing now, and to have at least an occasional platform for the work, a chance for interaction between the work and some part of the viewing public. And so far, wow, the schedule's been packed, so no complaints.
I don't sleep.
Yeah.
I don't sleep. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Anything on the horizon? What's next?
Well, I'm doing another of these large projects. In a way, it's the one, as they always are. Each one is kind of the logical next step to the one before in terms of me learning my particular processes and techniques, which can be quite painstaking at times, and which are also very joyful and spontaneous at other times during the process. So I'm working on the next thing, and as far as shows, I don't know. Who do you know?
We'll figure something out, right? All right. Well, thank you, Allan.
Sure.